Hello, friends and enemies. Today, we are going to talk about the 2020 release Susurros de Cementerios, meaning Whispers of Cemeteries for my English speakers, by Skeletal Bats. Skeletal Bats is an electro, horror punk, and death rock duo from Hidalgo, Mexico, made up of Agustin Mojica on keyboards and programming and Nicolas Mojica on vocals. According to their Bandcamp, the idea of the band started as a talk between two friends over a drink at the end of October 2019, with the idea to make music that is danceable, to make us rot more than we already are, and to have decadent and sinister lyrics. Before we get much further, please remember to like, leave a comment, and subscribe if you want more content related to goth music from Latin America. There is a lot to say about this band. This particular subgenre of electro horror punk is something I have seen almost exclusively from acts out of Mexico, usually, though not always central Mexico, like Zezari and the bands he was associated with, El Muerto de Tijuana, and a few others, which is very cool. I love watching local trends in music spring up. This particular band has a simplistic sort of electronic sound, not like the cold wave bands that we talk about here more frequently. This falls into the realm of what I like to describe as music that sounds like it could be the soundtrack to a cheesy, dubiously safe haunted house at Halloween time. As far as I am aware, the only instrument being used is an electronic keyboard, but it gets put on the settings to sound like a theremin, an electric guitar, and an organ at different points, so it's not all samey in sound. Many bands that are purely electronic, especially if it's a one or two person project like this one, have to deal with those limitations, and I do still think this is very obviously one of those projects, but even they do the best that they can to deal with those limitations and embrace them even, and make it a part of their sound. The vocals are more spoken than sung, in this very pointed, scary voice kind of way. The lyrics talk about spooky things like bodies and blood and bats and the voices in your head. There are some songs that do touch on some less concrete things, including feelings, but I suspect that's not what most people are going to remember the most from this album. I would not advise listening to this while eating because some of the songs do get a little gross. All the lyrics are in Spanish, but even if your Spanish is pretty 50-50 like mine, I think you pretty much figure out what words like putrefacto and sangra and moscas and all that mean. The opening song on the album, Carroña, even has some lovely little sound effects in it, mostly provided by the vocalist. Bleh. Here's a little not-so-secret for my English-speaking audience about a less obvious one. Murciélagos are bats. You're welcome. Now you know what all those Spanish-speaking horror punk bands are talking about. I actually don't mind too much. It's nice seeing goth and goth-adjacent bands in this day and age willing to be subversive. Let me explain, because I don't want anyone thinking that I'm pulling a, oh, kids these days are so sensitive or anything like that. What I mean is, as I've mentioned in a past video, for a certain portion of alternative people these days, especially here where I am in the US, anyways, some have gotten very respectability politicsy, very don't do anything that might reflect badly on the community, which is part of why I personally consider myself more of a death rocker than a goth, because, among other things, oh boy, do death rockers not care about respectability politics and perception of the community by outsiders. Seriously, as a member of multiple communities that people are prejudiced against, ones that I have less of a choice to be part of than one that centers around the music that I listen to, let me say, it doesn't matter how respectable you are. People who are prejudiced against you are going to hate you for it no matter what, so you may as well just be yourself. Even if your most authentic self is not what everyone considers to be a good reflection on the community. Seriously, what's the point of being a part of an alternative community if you care so much about the opinions of the mundanes? Go listen to the music on your headphones at home with the windows closed and the curtains drawn. If you care so much, leave the rest of us out of it. So cheesy electro horror punk singing about eating rotting flesh may not be breakfast music, but it certainly is more original than yet another new wave ripoff band singing about yearning in the vaguest of terms. Not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just been done, you know. That was my review. The song you heard at the beginning was Del Infierno a tus pesadillas, meaning from hell to your nightmares. If you want to hear more from this band, I do have all of their social media links that I could find listed below, including their Bandcamp, where most of their stuff is available for name your price. If you want to follow me elsewhere on social media, my link tree is in the description as well. Until next time, bye now.